Hello and welcome to this presentation. In this video I will show you the content of the toolbox we use at school for different projects. Since some of the tools are not really common for most people, I will also explain the purpose of each tool. First off, we have 5 screwdrivers. These 3 have a slot head, which means that the tip is flat, however they are all of different sizes to fit a variety of screws. These 2 have a tip called the Phillips head, which is basically a cross. This tool is for example used to connect bits of wood with a screw. The long neck helps with tight spaces, and some of them have a magnetic tip so the screw won't fall off. Next up is a ruler. It's made of some flexible wood so it won't break easily. It can measure up to 200 centimeters or 2 meters, and it's often used to measure up different materials. This type of a ruler is heavy duty, so you won't see many students using them in math classes. The third tool is actually a pencil. It looks kind of weird in this picture simply because it's not sharpened yet. This specific kind of pencil is called a carpenter pencil and is mostly used on wood as it's thicker than a regular pencil. To sharpen the pencil you could use a knife such as this one. The main purpose of this knife is actually to take off the isolation of the cables. On the back of the knife you can see a half circle shape, which makes it easier to rotate the cable in your fingers as you cut it. But it's still a knife, so you can probably use it for whatever you want, but it seems pretty useless in the kitchen. It's always important to protect your body when working on something with heavy tools. In the toolbox I have a pair of glasses, headphones for hearing protection, and some gloves. As you probably figured out, the glasses are for protecting your eyes. They are made of plastic because glass could make you blind if they break. Long hours of work in a loud room could have a long-term effect on your ears. It's important to wear some protection when your ears are exposed to loud noises for a long period of time. Some headphones even have Bluetooth and music, but mine are not as fancy. Along with the glasses and headphones, we also have a pair of gloves. It's really easy to cut into your fingers with sharp tools if you are not careful. You could also happen to touch something hot like a power drill, so always be careful and wear protective gear. Further on, I also have 2 types of cable cutters. You could always use a knife, but the corners might not be as smooth as you would like. This is when a cable cutter comes in handy. The smaller cutter is simply for wires, and the bigger one is for thicker cables that are harder to cut. This is a picture of some nose pliers. These are good for bending and cutting cables, but you can also use them to hold screws or bolts. The tip is not actually sharp, but you can use this bit for cutting the cables. The tip is also pretty long, so you can use it in spots where your hands simply won't fit. To adjust a nut or a bolt, you will need a adjustable wrench or spanner, as some people call it. This tool is mainly used to loosen or tighten a nut or bolt. It has a jaw which is adjustable to fit around the bolt. The last tool is a hammer, but there are a lot of different types of hammers, so they all have a different name. This one is called a electrician's straight claw hammer. The claw on the backside is to pull nails out of the wood, and the steel head is to pound nails into the wood. I would recommend you use some gloves to protect your fingers on this one, and watch out for small pieces of wood getting stuck in your eyes. It's also important to mention that I also have many different endings for a customizable screwdriver as shown in this picture. Thank you for your attention. I hope you learned something new about some tools most electricians use.